Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on Sporcle with something that has done fairly well for me in the past, and it's another logic puzzle. Geography and logic, two of my favorite things. This is the US states trivia logic puzzle. Let's jump right in. We're starting by being given Virginia. Find Connecticut in E2. Oh, this one goes up to F. Interesting. So E2. Let's do Connecticut. And then E3 is Georgia. Okay, let's go one at a time now. And the clue in Connecticut. The smallest state by area is in D5. So that should be Rhode Island. I'm very confident in that. Rhode Island. And then the largest is in A4. Well, the largest, and some people would say Texas, but it's actually Alaska. A little bit of a trick question there. Then let's go to Georgia, because that was our next clue. Every state in row 1 borders Canada. That's a good thing to remember. That should help us narrow it down. Okay, so let's look at Rhode Island's answer now. Concord is the capital of B2 and Lansing D4. So Concord is... why am I drawing a blank here? Concord is New Hampshire. So New Hampshire is B2. New Hampshire. And then Lansing is D4, so that will be Michigan. Okay, let's go over here to Alaska. This one's starting off fairly easy, but I have the feeling it's going to ramp up in difficulty. All states in the F column border the Atlantic except F5. Fair enough, that's just the East Coast. What's next? We can do... Michigan's clue is Virginia aside, every state in column A borders the Pacific. So that's going to be California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii. So we have 3 spots and 4 options. But because of Georgia's A1, we know that that has to be Washington because it has to border Canada and the Pacific. So we know this is Washington State. What clue can we go on next? Let's do New Hampshire. The 4 most populous states are in C1 to 4 in some order. So we don't know what order, but we know this should be California, Florida, New York, and Texas probably. California. New York will probably be C1 because it borders Canada, but I'm not certain yet, so let's not do that. What other clues do we have here? I don't want to miss any. Okay, I think we can go to Washington. The Red Sox are based in a state which shares a diagonal with the land of Lincoln. Ooh, okay, so we're doing some trivia knowledge here. The land of Lincoln. Well, I know Lincoln was born in Kentucky. He had strong ties to Illinois. Okay, well, let's see what we can do here. I think the next step is going to be New York and C1. So let's just get it out of the way. Now, how we got that, by the way, was Georgia telling us everything in the top row has to border Canada, and New Hampshire telling us that C1 to 4 are the most populous states. So the Grand Canyon state is in D2. The only island state is in row 3. Okay, so that's suggesting that A3 could be Hawaii, but there's no reason it has to be, because the A row has to border the Pacific, but that could still be Oregon or California. No, it couldn't. That has to be Hawaii, because California is going to be in C2, 3, or 4 due to the most populous. So A3 is Hawaii. And then the Grand Canyon state is D2. I believe that's Arizona, but I have not yet been to the Grand Canyon, so I'm going to hold off guessing that until I need to. By the way, let me know if you guys like these logic puzzles. I want to know what kind of videos to put more of out. Okay, Hawaii. Every state beginning with South is in this quiz and in the same row. Well, that's just going to be South Carolina and South Dakota. So that doesn't help me much. So maybe we do have to do D2 Arizona. Well, let's just get it out of the way. If I'm wrong, we'll jump back in. Okay. The Phillies are based in F5, and the Brewers are in E4, and the Cubs in C5. Okay. Well, I am not a big sports guy. Let's see here. I'm thinking it's the Chicago Cubs in C5, which would be Illinois. And we don't get a clue there. Okay. The Phillies. Now, I'm thinking the Philadelphia Phillies, but that doesn't sound right to me. I don't know why. And the Brewers. I'm thinking Milwaukee, but again, I don't know. I wonder if this is where I'm going to be stuck. The Phillies. Where else could the Phillies be? Oh, okay, wait. We know one more. We know A5 has to be Oregon because California has to be over here, so that might give us a clue. Every state beginning with new is featured in this quiz. So New Hampshire, already got it. New York, got it. We're going to need New Mexico and New Jersey. Okay, so that doesn't help me with a ton. The Red Sox are based in the state which shares a diagonal with the land of Lincoln. So that's the Boston Red Sox. I know that one. So that's Boston, Massachusetts. But we don't have. Well, if we're saying Illinois is the land of Lincoln, then B4 is going to have to be Massachusetts. Yeah, let's risk it. I was in Vidalia, Illinois, and there was a bunch of Lincoln hype there. It was the end of a highway he designed, I think. So let's just try it. Do I want to risk that for the land of Lincoln being Illinois? Yeah, I think I do. Massachusetts. Oh, is my bad spelling gonna save the day? Oh, I was wrong. I knew I shouldn't have jumped the gun like that. Okay, I'm counting this as a failure, but let's jump right back in. Let me open this again. I'll cut you guys right back in. Alright, so we're back, and I'm going to try not to jump the gun anymore. Let's do, the Phillies are based in F5. I think at this point I just have to take the risk and go with Pennsylvania. There we go. I just had to spell it right. North and South Dakota are in the same column. So we know, we already knew South Dakota had to be here. Now we know North Dakota has to be here as well. Now that leaves me the Brewers. I'm thinking it's Milwaukee for some reason. Milwaukee. Yeah. I don't know what else to risk. Yeah, let's do Milwaukee, Wisconsin in F5. No, that's the Phillies in E4. Whew. I was worried about that. I was worried. Okay, so the Golden State. Yet again, I think that's a sports reference. I think it's basketball. I think it's the Golden State Warriors. And I think that's California, which means it would have to be in C4 due to New Hampshire's clue. So California. The states in row 1 are in reverse alphabetical order. Oh man. Okay, so we know they have to border Canada. I'm thinking there might only be one between N and W. So we know it's not Montana. It could be North Dakota. It can't be Minnesota. It's not Michigan. But it could be Vermont. It's not New Hampshire, so it could be Vermont or North Dakota. Okay, we got to read over this for a second and see what we can deduce. Connecticut, the smallest state, so we got Connecticut done. I wish there was a way here I could mark when I've already used the clue. Maybe there is. Maybe if I click on it or something. No. North and South Dakota are in the same column. Okay, so that doesn't stop this from being North Dakota, I don't think. But this is either North Dakota or Vermont. There's lots of options for these. We've got Montana, Minnesota, Maine, and that's it. I think. Hold on, let me think again. Yeah, Montana, Minnesota, and Maine. So D1 has to be Montana. This is going to have to be Minnesota. Horrible spelling, I understand. Boise is the capital of B4. So this is Idaho. And then this should be Minnesota. This should be Maine. Wow, so that's crazy that there is two options for B1, but there's only three alphabetically before New York left once we take out New Hampshire and Michigan. Okay, that makes sense. Maine. California aside, Rhode Island is the only adjacent state adjacent to states bordering Lake Michigan. Okay. So Lake Michigan is the one between Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan. So does that make E5 Indiana? What's the other option here? It would be Wisconsin. But I feel like, no, Wisconsin's right there. Yeah, so this is Indiana. Montpelier is the capital of D3. So this is Vermont, which makes this, what does that make this one? North Dakota. Which makes either B3 or B5 South Dakota. And then the other one. No, so okay, so there's a bit of logic here. This is where this comes in. I try not to get too ahead of myself and to slow down and explain my thoughts, so sorry for me jumping around. So this cannot be South Dakota because North and South Dakota are in the same column. Yes, check. But every state beginning with South in this quiz is in the same row. And I'm pretty sure if we put South Dakota here, South Carolina can't fit anywhere else. But maybe I'm reading this wrong, but I need to figure out if South Dakota is in the quiz or not. Oh, yeah, I just misread Hawaii. It says every state beginning with South is in this quiz and in the same row. So this is South Dakota. And then South Carolina is going to be F3 because C2 and C3 are Florida and Texas based on population. So this is South Carolina. Okay, so we have 5 answers left, and I think we've logicked this out most of the way. What else do we know here? Florida and Texas, I'm pretty confident. I don't know if there's a way to discern which is which. Every state in row 1 borders Canada. Check. We have Virginia side, every state in column A borders the Pacific. Check. What was the one about the land of Lincoln? The Red Sox are based in a state which shares a diagonal with the land of Lincoln. What's the land of Lincoln? Is it Indiana? So is this Massachusetts? I think it's going to have to be because none of the other options make sense. So this is Massachusetts. I still can't spell even though I just saw it spelled in front of me. No! You know what? I think I'm a bit of an idiot and I think I misread this clue or misinterpreted it. So let me get this back up here one more time, and I'm taking 2 failures on this one. Okay, so back to this one. I was interpreting that as had to be directly diagonal. So I am confident Illinois was right as the land of Lincoln, but it shares a diagonal, not directly diagonal, which means F2 now is our only available option when we get down to this point. So this has to be Massachusetts. That makes me so mad because I knew it. I knew it was Illinois. I just didn't comprehend what this was saying. A total error on my part for not reading it clear enough. So the Lone Star States in row 3, that means this is Texas. C2 is Florida. And then what's left? All the states with new are featured in this quiz. We have New York, New Hampshire. It's going to be New Jersey and New Mexico. I'm pretty sure this is going to be New Jersey because it borders the Atlantic. And then this is New Mexico. So it took me 3 tries, 2 failures, both of them on Massachusetts because my reading comprehension is just not there. But let me know how you guys did in the comments below. Suggest any quizzes you'd like to see me take. I'll be back with the huge quiz later this week, and we'll see where we go from there. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. As always, the link is in the description to take this quiz.